would be, what's the purpose of this video today?
Today's video, we're going to be going over wedding planning and all of the little details that we feel is important to add towards that topic.
Exactly. And by no means are we wedding planners. We've done this one time. We plan on only doing it one time, but we just want to share everything that we went through in 5 basic tips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You heard us right. 5 tips on how we planned our wedding. Okay? Okay. And fun fact. Who wants to hear a fun fact? Do you want a fun fact?
Fun fact.
Fun fact. This is the actual wedding bouquet that I walked down the aisle with. It is silk. It is beautiful. I did this because I knew that I always wanted it. It's featured in our home as one of our decorations. I love it. Still smells like Tallahassee.
Yep.
Crawfordville. So this is the wedding bouquet, the original one. Okay? Who's ready? Let's jump right into it. Alright everyone, so before we begin our video, we just wanted to let you know that this video isn't if you're engaged or whatever. This is for people who are even just thinking about getting married or who are just interested in a wedding, or you have a friend. This is just for anybody who's thinking about planning a wedding, or even if you already had your wedding. You will be able to leave some comments for the community below on what you wish you could have done differently. So this video is for all people, and we're strong believers in looking ahead to the future. We don't have kids, but we watch videos on kids. We watch videos on seasons that we're not in because we seek to be in that season, and we want wisdom for people who've already been in the season. So this video is for everyone, so stay tuned. We have amazing tips that are coming your way. Boom. Please. Tip number 1.
Tip number 1 is to create a maximum budget.
That's right.
What does that mean? Creating a maximum budget, it can be very difficult in your wedding season.
Yes, it can be.
Weddings are very, very, very expensive.
Super.
Things, costs can sneak up on you, and they accumulate very fast. If spending a lot of money is something that you are okay with,
and
capable of, that you can afford, that you feel comfortable with the future that comes along with, then go for it. But for Sika and I, that was not something that we really wanted to get into. We paid $5,000 for our entire wedding.
Right, 500.
And I mean, you have to take into account venue, location, the amount of guests you want to have. Exactly. So these are really important considerations. But we managed to get to a $5,000 payout, which was a huge blessing for us.
Yes, it was.
And that was something that was realistic for us.
Exactly.
That was something that we could afford. So some tips relative to creating a maximum budget is really sit down with your spouse to figure out your fiance at that time, to figure out what's a comfortable number for you. You have to manage your expenses. You have to see, sometimes parents do help out with the wedding planning or with wedding expenses.
Or
cousins, aunts. We had cousins, we had aunts that helped out wherever they can, whether it was monetarily or with their time, with their knowledge, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But one thing that we did was really sit down and talk about what is realistic for us. What can we manage? Do we feel comfortable going forward spending money on the wedding past our wedding day? So that's something to really consider. It's really important. And you have to do what's comfortable for you. Again, it's your wedding. Don't let anybody tell you that your wedding is too expensive. Don't let anybody tell you that the wedding is too cheap or you didn't spend enough. It really comes down to you, because at the end of the day, when that wedding day is over and all of the guests go home, you're going to be with your spouse, and the payments or the money that you owe really just falls on you. So you have to consider what you can. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I actually want to include 2 of the big things that were not included in our wedding budget. That includes our venue location. So for us, we use our resources. We have an aunt that lives in Crawfordville, Florida, which is Tallahassee technically. And she always said, hey, you all can have your wedding in our backyard. And it was gorgeous. She had a beautiful backyard, and we used it as a resource. And Bjorn and I, we're both nature people. We love the outdoors, and we said, why not? Like, what other way to make our wedding feel like a family family wedding, a family celebration, than to have it at our aunt's house.
Yeah.
So we use the resources. So do you know somebody who has a nice backyard or a nice house or
an Airbnb,
or a more affordable way to make it happen? I mean, we got married right after the pandemic kind of ended, so all of those 2020 brides and grooms were trying to get married, so they spiked up the prices for everything. So if Bjorn and I waited to have our wedding based on a venue, we would not be married. So for us, this is what made sense for us in our home. And like he said, we didn't want to have to worry about paying bills once we finished. We were already going to be having bills. We had just closed on our home the February prior, so we got engaged in March, married in June. So very quick. Another reason why our budget had to be minimal, because we wanted to be married. We wanted to be husband and wife. We wanted to live together already. We just had a lot of goals that we wanted. We wanted to buy furniture. We wanted to furnish our home. We wanted to have a little bit of something in our pockets, just so when we start out, you know, we have a little security there. So you do what works for you and you stick to it. And people, I remember at work, people were laughing at me when I said 5,000. They're like, oh, like that's not gonna work. This is very unrealistic. And the thing is, it might have been unrealistic for them, but it was very realistic for us. We made it happen. So make a budget and stick to it.
Stick to it. Very difficult, but it's worth it. And it's worth it. Stick to it.
Like he said. Perfect. All right. Tip number 2. Drum roll, please. So tip number 2. Is that me, baby, or you?
That is you.
So create a date and stick to it. So creating a date, it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. When do I get married? Do I do it in summer? Do I do it in spring? You know, when should I get married? There's so many options to choose from, lots of months, but you do what works for the two of us, two of you, you and your fiance. So for us, we chose June because we have a lot of children in our family, and we wanted it to be a wedding in which children could attend. So what better date to do it than summertime? So we had them come out, everybody could make it. We knew that people would be more likely to be able to fly in, drive up, so we did it in June. We did take into account the weather, that it rains 25 days in June, but we had lots of hope that it wouldn't rain.
And we knew the risk.
And we were okay with the risk, so we planned according to the risk. So we had tents, we had umbrellas, we had ways to make it work. Fans, because we knew it was going to be hot, just in case. We planned accordingly based on the weather. It still rained, but it was a great time. It poured, but it was 100 degrees in the morning, basically, and then by the time we had our wedding, it was 70 degrees, and people were actually cool. So everything works out the way that it's supposed to. Exactly. So you choose your date and you stick to it. And once you choose that date, you start sending out those save the dates so that people could have in mind when they will be attending your wedding. A big thing for us with the quick turnaround was, oh my gosh, are people even going to be able to make it to our wedding? It's only going to be us and like our immediate family. Nobody's going to make it. It's only 3 months notice, a little bit less. But no, all of the people that we invited came. Maybe 5 or 10 people who couldn't come last minute, but the people who love you, the people who want to be there, the people who want to celebrate you will make time and make a way to come. And again, your wedding is for the two of you, so you choose a date that works and you stick with it. Good. All right, people, tip number 3. Oh, I like that one better. 3. What is tip number 3, you might ask?
Create your planning crew
and
create a planning party. Talk to him, lady.
Talk to him. So nice. It was the both of us. So we created a crew. So we knew we wanted to get married. So we had our budget. We made a date. We created a crew. We reached out to people that we believed were gonna help us in this planning. People who we knew would be optimistic. People who were organized. People who loved us, who would be with us. People who had experience. So we reached out to people who were recent newlyweds. So people who we knew who just went through the process. We wanted to ask advice from people who were just in the situation. So that's exactly what we did. So we created our wedding crew, 6 women, and then we had a wedding planning party with the intentions of planning the wedding. So they came over, we cooked, we love to host, I love to cook. It was an amazing time. We ate, we had fellowship, we prayed, we just spent, thank you, honey. We spent time together, and then we got it lacking to plan that wedding. So we began the meeting off basically saying, listen, y'all, You know, we're engaged. Woo! Engagement! Yay, yay, yay! However, it's going to be a very short engagement because we're getting married in 80 days!
3 months.
3 months!
Less than 3 months.
Less than 3 months. And we're planning the wedding tonight.
I don't think they knew, did they?
No,
Okay.
we made
Still
it a surprise. And everybody was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And they all had the energy and the excitement to make it happen. And that's exactly what we did. There was nobody in that room that looked at us and said, yeah, you're crazy. That's not happening. It's
Thankfully.
not working. Thankfully, but it's being intentional with who you choose and knowing them well enough to know if they're going to support you on this journey that you want. And we planned that wedding, boy. Like, we planned that wedding that night. We had a huge whiteboard. We drew out the layout of the backyard. We literally drew out where every table would go, how we would do it, the amount of guests that we wanted. We talked about it all. We literally created the timeline, every single thing. We talked about DIY, seating, everything that night. And we weren't there all night. It was efficient. We got down to business. I think the meeting started at 7 and then the latest person left by like midnight and we had it done. It was efficient, created a doc, and it's like people assume their roles. Literally. Yeah. Oh, does someone have a laptop? I'm going to type everything out. Someone just started typing, sending these, Pinteresting that. Oh, we're going to do this. Let's DIY that. Oh, your budget is $5,000. Great. Let's make it happen. I know how we can do this. I have a Cricut. I have a this. I have a that. People with resources. Oh, I know someone who could be the DJ. Shout out, please. So we just knew exactly what's going to happen. Photography, videography. We just had resources. And we made it happen. We thought about, okay, who do we know that can help with this? That can do that? Who can... everything. So create your crew. Create your crew. Oh, we did say crew, and then plan that party and make it work.
And make it work.
That's it, baby. You want to add?
I think again, just to expound on what you were talking about, it's really important to find people that will really believe in the vision that you have. Sika and I talked about what we kind of wanted to do, and again, it goes back to tip number 1 about being realistic about what we can do in our budget and where we were, right? That took a lot of consideration, like where we were, what part of Florida we were in. So when it came to the planning process, being that we are people who really do, I feel like we feed off of people's energy. We need people in the room to say, you got it. Let's do it.
Let's make it
Let's make it work. There was not one person in that room that doubted or that second guessed the idea.
Energy was great.
It was just a really, really good energy to be a part of. It was a great time, and I was happy to be a part of it. I was happy to be there, and kind of
include your fiance.
Yeah, that's another one. But I was happy to be there because it was a really, really fun process. And it was just, again, great.
It was so much fun.
Being around people who just really wanted to make us happy. Really, they were really invested into... Genuinely. They were really invested into us. They really wanted to make... And they knew our circumstance. Like,
again, young couple,
the young couple,
just married.
Just about to get married. We've been together for a long time. They knew that we didn't have... a ton of money to put into the wedding.
$1 million.
So they knew that we were really going to have to DIY it, and they were all for it. So I'm so happy that we chose who we chose, and make sure that you choose and be very selective about who you choose to be a part of your planning crew.
Exactly.
Be a part of that planning party.
Exactly. Because your crew could be your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, whoever you want it to be, but don't put that pressure on yourself. If you just want select people to help you with the planning, invite those select people. And the people who actually want to be there for you will show up. And you'll be surprised. People who don't. And it's okay. Sometimes, though, your wedding planning can become a little bit lonely because you're in your head like, oh my gosh, there's this. And for us, we had to figure every single detail out that we wanted at our wedding because we had a backyard wedding. So that means we had to get the tents, the tablecloths, every single detail we had to remember. It wasn't provided by somebody. So to ease your stress, have people on your team who can help you with that. Make it easier. Delegate.
And I think you did a great job of doing that. I was just about to put that in there as well. Delegate, To all the brides or the soon-to-be brides out there, do not
Delegate.
put all of
Don't
this
put
on your
that stress,
shoulders.
because then you're not having fun.
You're not having fun. It's supposed to be an enjoyable season or a happy season for you.
Exactly.
Delegate to those that you love.
Alleviate stress. Make it fun. Spice it up. Add some things, excitement to your planning. Go on dates. Take it outside. Change the scenery.
Yeah.
Do something to make it enjoyable. You are about to get married for the only time in your life. Hopefully married once. That's the goal. And whether you're married right now or you're not, or you're single and you're watching this video, like, start planning now. Start thinking about it. And once you're in that season, things start to click. I can be very indecisive, but when it was wedding season, girl, you just kind of start figuring out, okay, I need this. This is not realistic. Just make it the best season ever, because you're in it one time and it goes fast. Even if it's a whole year that you're engaged, it goes fast. 3 months, blink of an eye. So make it happen. Next tip. Drum roll, please. Tip number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Seek the Lord and be steadfast in your decision. I think this is a really important one. Throughout the entire season, it is a difficult season.
Yes.
It can be. We got, again, like we said, we got engaged and married within 3 months. And as just to speak on my own experience as the fiance and the soon-to-be husband, I was faced with a lot of pressure. I feel like I had a lot of people around me, thankfully, that I was able to talk to, but there was a lot of pressure that goes into it. I was ready. I felt ready to go. Thank you. I was ready to take that next step. We have been dating for a really, really, really long time, so it was just the natural. It's the 7 years, so it was the natural next step to take, and I felt like we were ready financially to make that move. But I was faced with a lot of pressure. I was faced with a lot of doubt. You just don't know, right? As you've never. I've been Sika's boyfriend. I've been Sika's fiance at that point for a while, for 3 months, but I've never been her husband, and that would be, and that's gonna be the next thing for me for the rest of my life. That's gonna be a part of my identity forever. Exactly. So, it takes a lot of preparation, but it takes a lot of being in your word and trusting in God. It really takes a lot of prayer. Exactly. It takes a lot of surrounding yourself. I had so many great conversations with people who were able to kind of lead me down that path of, to be at the altar, to be ready for that. I was so nervous. But yeah, that's pretty much the big thing about that, is just really being in your word, being patient, seeking wisdom, and just being in your word, praying. Don't ever forget the power of prayer. Prayer is such a powerful thing. Take that time out of your day, before dinner, before lunch, before every meal, just pray.
As you walk, as you drive.
As you walk, just be with God, be with the Lord, because that's a really, really important time. Anything else you want to add?
So ways that we sought the Lord is we did premarital counseling, and it
definitely
was
recommended.
Phenomenal. So it was great because we would go to these meetings, the two of us, and learn so many interesting things that have to do with being a wife. So we learned so much, and I think what was really cool about it is that we had homework outside of it. So we were always constantly seeking, okay, what is it to be a wife? What is it to be a husband? What does this look like biblically? What is the purpose of marriage? And really, really just always thinking about, always sitting in it. We were always asking people questions. So people in our life that we knew recently got married, or people that we see with strong marriages, or people who have been in a marriage for a really long time. Even if they were strangers, I was at work asking people about their marriage just because I wanted to know what to do and what not to do. So just continuously seek the Lord, seek wisdom, always ask questions, take advice, because you really want to only be married at one time. You want to make it the best. You want to do it right. So prepare, give it the weight that it deserves, because this is a big deal. Marriage is a big deal. So give it, train for it, prepare for it, prepare your mind, and more importantly too, prepare yourself individually to get married, because that'll be the last time in your life that you're single. The last time in your life that you are single. So how can Sika, by myself, as an individual, how can I prepare my mind, my body, everything for marriage? Spiritually, how can I prepare to be a wife? How can I? Because I'm now adding another hat to my head, which is my favorite hat. And it's cool because in Proverbs, actually, there's a voice that talks about how an excellent wife is a crown on her husband's head. And I want to be an excellent wife. I want to be that crown. And that's a privilege. Thank you. I tried. So, and that's a privilege. So you just work as hard as you can so that you can be the best wife or best husband to be. But enjoy that fiancé season as well. Ours was quick, but it was fun. Great. All right, people, and tip number 5. We made it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tip number 5, enjoy the season. You get to be a bride, you get to be a groom. This is your big day. You are showing the world that you are fully committed to each other and that nothing can get in between the two of you. You're taking your vows in front of the Lord, in front of people. You are telling
your
each
loved
other,
ones.
your loved ones, the people you love, the people who've seen you in this journey. This is your big day. Enjoy your season to the fullest. Don't let the stress that comes along with it bring you down. I remember there was one day in all of the planning, the finances, y'all. So I'm not a numbers person. The numbers just kept, they just kept climbing. It kept looking like it was gonna just be out of our budget. And I was just very overwhelmed. So what did my wonderful fiance do? He found ways to calm me, to comfort me. He came outside. He's like, let's go outside. We need to go outside. We need to go for a walk. We need the outdoors. Just take a moment away. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling like, oh, this is impossible, this is stressful, this is not fun, I just want to be over with it. No, remind yourself that it is a privilege that you're able to be with someone you love enough to get married to them, to make that declaration to the world. So enjoy your season. Don't let anything get in the way. People might say things that are unwarranted, that might, bring you down. However it may be during the season, people might not show up for you in the way that you thought. People might question your decisions. People just might not be there for you. And it can be hard. It can be lonely. It can be tough. Although it's exciting, it can be hard. But just remember to enjoy your season and protect your peace. Don't let anybody get in the way of your peace. I remember 2 days before our wedding, somebody came up to me. Somebody I love dearly, my wonderful aunt. She came up to me and she said, hey, actually it's going to be raining the exact moment when you walk down the aisle. And imagine being the bride or the groom. Imagine someone telling you that a few days before your wedding and literally telling you, hey, I think that you should actually change the date. Change the date of your wedding and walk at a different time and just change it. That can be really disgruntling and just throw you off. But you know what I said? I said, you know what? It's okay. We're actually just not going to do that. We're just, people already, kind of drove up. People are already here. The wedding's supposed to be happening. We can't really change the date. But, thanks for letting me know. And that's it. And you keep it pushing. And it's not to say you have to be mean, rude, or whatever. You just protect your peace. I just knew I was not letting anything get in my way. I made barriers in my head that nothing was going to get in the way of this wonderful wedding that we were going to have, and nothing did. So protect your peace, because it can be a difficult time. A very difficult time. But you can make it better. And you can enjoy it. So just protect your peace. Protect your peace. Filter out all of the things that you don't need in your life during the time. You have enough on your plate already. And for those who are watching someone in that season, be of encouragement. Text somebody. Hey, you got this. I see that your wedding's coming up soon. You got this. It's going to be great. How can I help you? How can I alleviate stress? Hey, can I take you out to go eat? Let's go sit by the park. You want to go for a run? Hey, I'm going to come over. Let's, just be there for those in the season, because there's a lot that you don't see behind closed doors. You just see the actual wedding. So just be there for those in that season, because it is a lot. You're planning an event. And you're taking up this huge role. So be there for those who are in those season. Good? Anything to add, Papi?
Just remember to just breathe. Just breathe. Be very appreciative that you've gotten to this point in your relationship. It is a very big milestone. And just know that God will take care of you, right? Like if you are truly, if you're building your house on the rock and making sure that your relationship has the foundation it needs to succeed in marriage, hopefully you've taken the proper steps prior to getting engaged to build that rock, to build that house on the proper foundation. It's something it's amazing. It's amazing seeing two people who love God, who love each other, coming together as one. So yeah, just remember to breathe and just know that this is the best time. It should not be a time of stress. And just remember to pray. Just always surround yourself around people that love you, that encourage you, that will tell you exactly what my wife said to, go outside. So that's important.
Ask for help and take the help. Take the help. Be humble enough to take the help. Good. All right, baby. Cut the video and do these really fast.
Yeah, just start. You don't have to cut it. Just stopping and starting doesn't help.
Okay, so we have a few more things before we end this video that we just want to tell you. So we actually reached out to a few couples who have recently gotten married, and we asked them some things that they wish they had done differently. And one of the things that they mentioned were, do you want me to start?
You can say them all.
So one of the things that they mentioned is just being really intentional with the people that you invite and the people that you don't invite. So oftentimes when you don't invite people, it can cause a lot of strife in families and friendships and whatever it may be. But as long as you, as the bride and groom, are comfortable with the decisions that you make, then go ahead and make them, because you know the people that you want in your life while you're getting married and who you want to be a part of that process. So just be really intentional with who you're choosing, and also be okay with the strife that might come with certain family members that you don't invite, because at the end of the day, it is your wedding. You're the one with the budget, and sometimes that's the biggest deciding factor for people who are invited, just the budget. We just simply can't afford it. And the hope is that if someone isn't invited to your wedding, that they understand that it doesn't mean I love you any less or that I don't care about you. It just means personally for us, it wasn't gonna work. So just really, really, really be cautious about who you invite and who you don't invite. Okay? Another one that we had is going over the budget. So we already spoke about that. People regretted it, having to pay their wedding off after the fact. That can be really tough, and it can be a financial strain. So just something else someone said.
Don't do it.
Involvement of family. So someone told us that they wish that they involved their spouse's family a little more, because it wasn't until the actual wedding day that they were like, oh my goodness, why didn't I involve this person? So just really think about your family members and the family members of your spouse. For me, I had his mom a part of everything. She was a part of me getting ready. She was a part of it all. I wanted her to be a part of everything, because that is my mother-in-law. That is mi suegra. That is someone who is my mom, who's another mom to me, and that's his mom. So most importantly, I wanted her to feel all of the moments just like my own mom did. So just be very, very, very particular and intentional with those you love, especially your spouse's family. Another thing, delegating tasks. One of our brides told us that she was really stressed. It was just so much, and some of the things that she took on, she didn't have to. She could have asked this person, she could have asked her cousin, she could have asked this, but instead we think that we're super women and we try and do it all. But in the case of planning a wedding, you need the help.
You need it.
One of our brides told us, y'all, I'm just telling you what they said. Another thing someone said, keeping groomsmen and groomswomen, or groomsmen and bridesmaids. Be very careful with the people that you choose, because you love these people. These are people that you grew up with. But again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it causes a lot more stress, and it can cause a lot of issues in the relationship along the lines, especially if you expect your childhood best friend to just, take up for you and be this person and be there for you, and then they just kind of, just show up. Oh, I can't make it. This is too much. Can we reschedule? It's like, it becomes really stressful, and they just don't show up for you the way that you thought, but you're still spending money to please them. You're pleasing all these people when you could have just kept it simple. So if you are going to have a huge wedding party, think about the stress that it can add. It can be great. It can work out perfectly for you. I'm not saying not to do it, but just be very cautious, because it's more people to talk to. It's more forms of communication to keep in mind. Another thing people wish they had was a point person. So for us, when we were getting married, as it got closer to our wedding date, we literally created a document that stated every single person's role. So we had the whole family involved. Why? Because we wanted it to be like a big family party. So we had the person's name, their task, and then at the bottom we had important addresses, important phone numbers, important things that they needed to know as we were approaching the wedding. And so we had point people. We had two people, a woman and a man. And so if anybody had any questions, you reach out to those people. Do not contact the bride and groom. And they knew everything that we knew. That way we didn't have as much stress on our heads, because we had other people who we know were perfectly capable of getting the job done. So really entrust others with these roles, and not only does it help you, but it lets that person know, wow, like they really value me, they value my time, they care about me, they really want me involved. So keep that in mind.
Keep it in mind.
And those are just a few things that people said of things they would have done differently. If you have anything that you wish you would have done differently on your wedding day, please comment below. And if you're someone who wants to get married, who's single, who's thinking about it, and you have more questions, again, this was a general video, you leave those comments down below. But before we go, we do have a few questions we want to leave you with. We want you to think about these questions that we are going to state as you prepare to get in that season, as you go in this season, and as you just think about all the things that we talked about. You want to go ahead and start with them so you can begin?
Sure. So some key points are you staying within your means?
Are you really staying within your means? Can you afford this wedding?
Who is the wedding for? You
Or them?
or your guests? It's a
Who's
big
it
one.
for? Is it for you or for your guest? It's for both, but who are you creating the wedding for? To impress others, or it's because it's really what the desires of your heart are?
What do you want your wedding to feel like?
What do you want it to feel like? For us, it was a big family celebration, a party. At the end of the wedding, one of my closest family friends was like, hey, you know, this really felt like old times. And that was exactly what we were going for. During our wedding planning party, we said we wanted to feel like old times. We wanted to feel like a family celebration. So what do you want your wedding to feel like?
It reminds me of the saying, nobody remembers what you say, but how you made them feel.
How you made them feel,
It has a
people. You gotta create a
the
feel for your
long-lasting
wedding.
effect. Next one. What is the environment you wish to create?
Exactly. Are you an outdoor person? Are you an
An
indoor
indoor.
person? How do you want to do the table
The
seating?
decor.
Who do you want to sit next to each other? Do you want
The-
it simple? How many flowers? Do you want silk flowers? Do you want real flowers?
Kind of DJ.
I need silk because I wanted to have these flowers forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So you do what works for you. What is the environment you wish to create? Think about it.
Is this realistic?
Is this realistic? Can it happen? Ask yourself that question.
And the last one, which is my favorite one, I had to leave it for last. How are we glorifying God?
How are we glorifying God on this day?
How are we doing it throughout the whole process?
Throughout the whole process.
Are we leaning on each other for our own understanding, or are we going to God to seek that understanding?
And to seek that wisdom. And also too, for us, we did a foot washing ceremony, which might have been different and weird to some, but for us, it was our way to show humility and a servant attitude towards each other. This is my husband. I will serve him for the rest of my days. I will clean his feet. I will clean whatever he needs me to do. I will take care of him. And just like in biblical times, foot washing was very symbolic. We just wanted to put that out there. And also, it slowed down our wedding for us. Like, that was such an intimate time between the two of us. Getting to wash each other's feet on our wedding day was special, and to us that was really an act of glorifying God. Like, we get on our knees and we pray to show humility. Like, this is not our life, this is not our home, this is God's. This is our life is because of God. So how can you glorify God in your wedding? And just getting married is glorifying God, because it's showing that unity between the two of you that nobody can get in between. Our marriage is so strong, nothing, no one, no situation can get in between, because we know at the end of the day, it's all for the glory of God. So how can you do it?
What you envision your wedding to be may not look the same when you're in your wedding season.
So that's just actually a point. So you might have grown, you might be that person who grew up knowing how you wanted your wedding to be your entire life. But once you got in the season, it might not look how it's going to be. So be okay for change, be okay for different. Because you know what? You have grown. You are no longer that person you were 10 years ago. And you are no longer that person you were even a year ago. So be okay with the change, be okay with the growth. And also, you didn't have your spouse or your fiance in your life at that time. So how can you create a dream wedding without him in mind? So I made sure that everything that we did was that we wanted to both do. This wasn't my wedding. It wasn't just about the bride. It was also about the groom. So your wedding just might not look like what you envisioned it to be all those years ago. And that is okay. Your wedding plans and ideas will change just like you will. And last final question. If marriage is made to bring unity and grow community, why are you trying to plan it alone? You're getting married to create unity and community. Seriously, don't plan your wedding alone. Have people involved. Make it an event. Make it fun. Make it a celebration. And let people come along on that ride with you. You'd be so surprised how many people want to be a part of it. And it might be that one person who sends you a text, hey, thinking about you. Hey, how's the wedding planning going? That might be your opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Do you mind helping me in this way? Do you mind just coming over and talking with me? Do not try and plan your wedding alone. Don't do it. Get people involved.
And not even planning, just in terms of, you know, when you're going through those stressful times.
Exactly.
You don't want to go through the wedding season alone.
No.
Bring people along with you.
Bring people along with you.
I think it's a really good time as well to reach out to people, right? Like
Exactly.
you're about
Get
to be
people
married.
involved.
Get people involved that you may not have thought of getting involved in. Reach out to that person that you may not have been that close with and ask them questions. Talk about it. And this goes for men too, and I think this is so important. Men, we don't talk, especially within our wedding season, a lot. It's something that's often, the attention is all on the bride, as it should be. It is something that we do. It is a great celebration where the bride is able to be the star of the show. But
Scary.
It's amazing to see your bride being the star of the show. But as a man, it is your time too. It's your time to really make that commitment to the love of your life. So bring men, bring other men along the ride too.
You heard it here.
Talk to your men, talk to people surrounding you, talk to cousins, brothers, talk to your fathers. Just bring people along the ride with you, because you're not alone. Mentors. Build a community around you that can help you through questions, through those doubtful nights, that will pray for you, and that will really, really give you what you need as a young man getting ready to make this commitment. Because when you're at the altar and you're looking at your bride in the face,
oh no, it's happening,
and you're about to say I do, I remember being so scared. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I've thought about this day for years, and now here it is.
The day is here.
So to get to that point, you really need to build a community that will lead you to the point that when you're there, you're so ready.
You're so ready.
And we were.
And it's also too, like, don't let outside distractions get in the way of your day. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, there's gonna be so many people looking at me. This is just gonna be so much. It's gonna be a lot. But first of all, when I walked out, I just saw like the hue of people, and I was like, wow, all of these people really stayed in the rain, waited 2 hours just to be here on our wedding day. But most importantly, none of that nervousness or anxiety that I thought that would come along with that was there. Why? Because I had my eye focused on the target. I had my eye focused on my husband. I had my eye focused on the rest of my life. So just remember why you're having your wedding. It's to celebrate your union. You made it to the day. You made it to the day. So keep your eye focused on the prize and let all that anxiety wash away. Let it wash away. You can do it. And whoever's walking you down the aisle, for me it was my brother and my mom, but my brother, he just had the right words to say. He just let me know that it's gonna be okay, and that the rain stopped, and that we are gonna get married. So just whoever your person is, just they will have the right words to say to calm you down. And if they don't, you have your husband or your wife that you get to look at and gaze upon for the rest of your life. So we're the Atkinsons. We hope you enjoyed this video. We love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and for showing us support. If you have anything else that you want to hear or any questions you have about our wedding plan, please leave some comments below. You know, just leave the comments and we'll make sure to get back to you. And just make sure to subscribe our channel and follow our Instagrams. We're the Atkinson family. We love you all. Be blessed. Have a good week. Bye.